Hey, this is Matt once again. What about the videos? The paid request. This time for Sean. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for North by Northwest, the 1959 Alfred Hitchcock film, which I had heard of but never saw, and watched it finally, thanks to Sean, and I liked it. I did like the film. I would still say probably Rear Window or The Birds are my favorite Hitchcock films, but I'd probably put this in top 5. Because, number one, yeah, nice story by Bernard Herrmann. I like the way the title sequences are, whether the lettering is like on the side of the building. I thought that was kind of a neat way of doing the title sequence. And the plot, while I do think it runs a bit long, I think, 15 or so minutes could have been cut down from this movie. Because it is like 2 hours and 15 minutes, actually. So it felt a bit long in the tooth. But I did like the cast. It had some really good sequences, especially the most famous one, which I'll get to, which is a fantastic scene, the way the sound, the editing. I'll get to that in a few minutes. But Cary Grant, who plays this ad executive, and he, one thing leads to another, gets in this restaurant with some friends, calls for a waiter, and pretty much they, being the bad guys, pit the wrong man. They think he's someone who he is not. Case of very mistaken identity. He's thrust into this world of spy and espionage, and he almost gets killed. He gets away. Cops don't believe him. He wants to find out what's going on. He is set up for a murder he didn't commit. He's on the run. Meets a woman on this train. Realizes she's working with the bad guys. Realizes there's other stuff going on. And the story goes on from there. But Cary Grant, now I knew of Cary Grant, but I didn't grow up watching his stuff. I might have seen one or two movies of his, but he was definitely before my time. And like I said, I know I've probably seen one or two films of his, but they were so long ago that I don't remember a whole lot about them. He was really good in this. I think what it is that the character he plays has such a fun, rapport, wise-ass quality to him that made him a pretty interesting character to follow. Like, he's trying to get this gift for someone, and he says to the fact of, how about something for your sweet tooth? And all your other sweet parts. Well, I thought it was kind of risque for 1959, but I thought that was pretty funny. Or he's with his secretary, he's on the way to the restaurant. He's like, do I look heavier? Take a note. I need to think thin. Just the way he did such rapid-fire delivery of the dialogue, and what was the one thing? Oh yeah, like after he's kidnapped, he gets put into the car by these two guys. He tries to get out. Locked door, huh? Cool. Hey, you mind stop at that place? I let some people at the restaurant, and they may be a little bit worried that I'm not back there. They may think I'm a bit rude. Or they bring him to the house and they put him in this library. He's like, well, don't worry. I always wanted to catch up on my reading. Like, it has a good sense of humor to it, but at the same time, like, you get that this guy, he doesn't like being pushed around. He stands up for himself. And again, I like that kind of wise-ass quality to him, and it made him much less of a dull and much less of a bland character. So I definitely thought that was a big plus to the movie. Now, the villains are James Mason, which I've seen in other films, and Martin Landau, a very young Martin Landau, well before Ed Wood and many other films. It's like, wow, I didn't know Martin. I had heard about this film. I didn't know Martin Landau was in this. He plays sort of the head henchman to James Mason, which they keep talking to Cary Grant, and he doesn't know what they're talking about. He keeps telling them the truth, but they don't believe him. So one thing leads to another. They're going to try to set him up as being a drunk that died. He's like, nah, I don't need a drink. Well, you either drink or we're going to force it into you. So they get him drunk, they put him in a car, but he has enough sense that he's able to push the guy out and drive. I mean, he's driving drunk, but he's still driving away. And he gets to the cops. I like he's at the police station. It's like, need to call the cops. Or someone's asking, like, how much did you drink? And he's like, think about it, and he's like, about this much. And of course they don't believe him. He even gets his mother to help bail him out, and she doesn't believe him. And the movie goes on from there. So again, I liked his personality. You find out there's a lot more to this guy who he thought was with the UN isn't the guy he was thinking of. So he realizes there's more subterfuge, there's more of people lying about their identities. Again, at one point he sees someone throws a knife. He stupidly grabs the knife to pull it out, which was his mistake. Now people think he did it. He's on the run. The CIA know about this, but they're not going to do anything about it because they don't want to screw up their undercover agent and their undercover dealings and try to find something to do with this microfilm that the bad guys have. He just on the train meets Eva Marie Saint, who was in films like On the Waterfront. I liked her. I thought she was a very competent actress, very nice looking, very sexy, but held her own against Cary Grant. There's some fun, flirty, especially her. She's very flirty. Which at first you get why. I mean, you eventually find out why she's flirty at first. Because there's spoilers. I mean, it's only a film from 1959, but still spoilers. You find out she's working with the bad guys. But, you know, the flirty stuff is kind of fun rapport. Like, she hides him in this cubicle in her room on the train. When he gets up, he's, like, trying to calm down. It was hard to breathe. And he's asking, why are you so good to me? She's like, should I climb up there and tell you why? But as they get together, you realize she's fallen a bit more in love with this guy. You also find out later more about her, that she's actually working with the government. She's being undercover. Granted, there's not a lot of chases. There's not a lot of, like, close calls. So at times, like in this section, I get that they're trying to do the lovey-dovey stuff, which is fine and flirtatious. I mean, there's some moments I think they could cut down a little bit. But the one scene they shouldn't, I'm glad they didn't touch at all, was, of course, the famous crop duster scene. It's a scene that's in some of the DVD releases, the posters. If you don't know this film, you at least know this scene where the crop duster plane is coming towards him. He's got to get out of the way. Now, I'd seen bits and pieces. I never saw the scene from beginning to end. And when you see it from beginning to end, it's a fantastic scene. I just fell in love seeing it all the way through. And here's why. The reason he's there is because the girl told him, this guy Kaplan, who we know is a guy that doesn't exist, but Cary Grant doesn't know. So he's supposed to meet this guy to supposedly help him out. He just dropped to the middle of nowhere. Great cinematography, this wide shot where you see how small he is, and all the cornfields, the open plain. Great use of the wide shots, and it's silence. No music, just silence. You see him looking one way, complete barren, the other way, you really get a sense of his isolation. And then he sees one car. And now he's thinking, is that Kaplan? We're thinking, is that going to be a bad guy who's going to try to kill him? Is it a drive-by, whatever? One car passes. Second car passes. Another. Here's a guy. Is he going to pull out a gun and try to shoot him? Who is he? He walks up to him. Finds out he's just waiting for the train. So there's some nice tension of, okay, is this guy... Again, for different reasons. For him, is that Kaplan? For us, is that the bad guy? Is he going to get screwed over here? We know he's going to be screwed over. It's just a matter of when. Then the guy, before he gets on the bus, goes, well, that's weird. That guy's cropping dust, but there's no crops over there. And there's great shots where you see the plane in the distance. And then Cary Grant looks, you see the plane getting closer and closer and closer. And as much as they could for 1959, it looks pretty decent where he dives out of the way and it passes right by him. And you see that shot where he's running and it's coming towards him. He's running, it's getting closer and closer. It's shooting at him. He goes into cornfields. He stops a truck. He gets under the truck. The plane can't get back up. It crashes into the truck. Nice explosion there. The whole scene, the way it's edited, the lack of music, the shots, the cinematography, excellent scene, and easily my favorite scene in the movie. I could definitely see why that scene has lived on throughout the years. It's worth watching the movie just for that one scene alone. Maybe for nobody else, but for me, it really just, how it was directed, the timing, the framing of the shots, just really impressive to me. So one thing leads to another. He realizes he's been screwed over. He sees the girl, flirts with her, pretends to have a shower, knows she leaves, sees that she called someone, left, follows her to this art auction, sees that she's with the bad guys, confronts them. I kind of smiled when I realized the bad guy's name is Van Damme. Of course, I'm a Jojo Van Damme fan, and very rarely you ever hear anyone called Van Damme. But this guy, James Macy's called Van Damme. And it's like Cary Grant, I like the dialogue they give him, his delivery. The bad guys still think he's an agent pretending. No, you're an actor, you're a pretty good actor. As Cary Grant says, well, the only performance you don't like is the one when I play dead. Like, they still don't get that he's not an agent or anything. And so he confronts them, but he realizes he did the hell out of dodge, but he's surrounded. So he starts messing around with the auction and causing a ruckus. Do I have 13? Yeah, $13. No, $1,300. What? That's $13. That's all it's worth. It's only worth $13. So that they could call the cops, and he even punches a guy in order to get himself arrested. I thought that was kind of clever, kind of funny. I liked another one where, I forget where, the cops, someone is like, oh no, it's when he finds out, he gets to the cops, someone from the government who knows he's innocent finally tossed him, says, hey, we need your help. They're about to leave the country. He's like, no, I'm out of it. This is before he's told that that girl is actually an undercover agent. So he feels bad for getting her into trouble, wants to help. But before that, he's like, no, I don't want anything about it. Listen, I got a mother, ex-wives, and I got several bartenders depending on me. But then he helps the girl. You get the chase on Mount Rushmore, which is a nice location to use. I think for the time, the effects they used to seem like they're climbing on Mount Rushmore was a very valiant effort. Again, for 1959. It may not be photorealistic in today's age, but I think it's a pretty valiant effort. Now, granted, you're not going. Cary Grant's not, could be doing the fight moves and punching people and stuff, but he does tip one guy off. Martin Landau stepping on his hand, and the cops finally come and shoot Martin Landau. And things work out happily ever after. So, I like the location of using Mount Rushmore. I thought that was a neat choice. So it makes the chase a bit more memorable visual-wise. The crop duster scene is definitely absolutely a memorable moment in film history. Eva Marie Saint has that beautiful, flirty nature to her that made her endearing. It was cool to see a very young Martin Landau. Cary Grant I thought was really good. Yeah, I liked his kind of smarmy, smart-ass quality to him. So he didn't seem like a wimp, and he didn't seem like a pushover. And it was a fun guy to follow around. Good cinematography. Like I said, the movie does feel a bit too long. Maybe like somewhere in the middle they could edit some stuff. I think maybe it's between getting caught by the cops when he's drunk driving to when he gets on the train. Maybe that area they could truncate or edit some stuff, make it a little bit faster in pacing. But overall, yeah, I liked the film. I thought it was rather good. I liked it. So, there you go. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.